Well, we bought a little bit of food this week because we got some comfort food and a couple of freezer meals that I want to get in the freezer. I spent a total of $60.12 at Walmart today. But I also got this. 74 loads on sale for $7 and change. I mean, like, seriously. Yeah. I grabbed another one. So we needed some ground beef, medium ground beef on the sale. So these are going to go in the freezer until I need them. We're going to be using those. I also got some thick cut bacon, also on clearance. Same thing though. We're going to be cooking this because we're having pizza for supper tonight. But the rest of that is for one of our comfort meals. Some 2% cottage cheese. And yeah, I know I did buy some cheese recently, but I wanted the Italian style for one of our freezer meals. Another can of cheddar cheese soup. 1 carton of milk. Some dark brown sugar, because, you know, if it's not the dark brown, yeah, I don't use it. I love dark brown sugar. I don't know. And I got my descaler for the coffee maker. Now it is super windy today, so ignore the hair. Just saying. Crazy. Oh yeah, I forgot. And more celery. Anyway, like I said, we have got some comfort foods and some freezer meals that we're going to do. So this is the beginning. $60.12. And then, of course, everything else I already have. So good morning, everybody. So that was our little tiny haul. Because this week it is all about the comfort food. And we're going to start with one of those discounted things, a hamburger. Because today we're making lasagna. So this video is probably going to be a little bit longer, of course, because kind of more like a freezer meal video. Because we're going to show you the comfort foods that we like. And the first one is lasagna. So we got to get this sauce going so it has plenty of time to simmer and cool. So we can put lasagnas together for dinner. Probably a couple of freezer meals while we're at it. All right, let's get to work. Okay, let's get this ground beef in there. Ta-da! Okay. And I'm only putting that 1 pound of ground beef in here. There's going to be quite a bit of sauce. But we're also putting a fair amount of cheese. So when it comes to protein, guys, we're going to be all right. All right, so while this starts cooking, let's go shopping on the pantry shelves, shall we? All right. Pantry. So we are going to get a jar of stewed tomatoes, a jar of diced tomatoes, and 2 large jars of tomato sauce. Let's go get these into the kitchen. I'm going to get a little bit of the oil out because this is medium ground beef, so it has a fair amount of oil. So, same thing we've done before. We'll just soak it up with a paper towel. Like that. It's a good way to do it, actually. Works well. I'm not going to get it all out, of course, because, hey, a little bit of oil just makes it taste good. There we go. Turn it down. And some of the peppers that we still have in the freezer. So that's probably almost a whole pepper, I'm gonna bet. And it literally smells like I just cut them up. Just saying. So this is the time of year too where if peppers do go on sale, I do tend to buy them. Mind you, I haven't this year at all. And then I'll cut them up and put them in the freezer. I'm still working on that last bag that we bought well before Christmas. And of course the last of the peppers from the garden last year. Oh, I can't wait till I can get pepper seeds ready to go. Okay, I'm going to get rid of these paper towels now that they're cool. So normally I'd be dicing up onions and things for this, but today I'm just going to be using the minced garlic and the toasted onions, the dried ones that we have, and a little bit of onion and garlic powder. Alrighty, these are getting there. And then of course our stewed tomatoes have a lot of good onions and peppers and everything in it too. Crack all our jars. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I need to, I can add some tomato paste to it as well. Last but not least is the mortar and pestle. Get some Italian seasoning in there, probably a good tablespoon or so. And we're going to grind this up. I don't want the bigger pieces, so I've been doing this lately. I found this big old granite mortar and pestle, oh gosh, probably 15 years ago now. And I'm in love with it, just saying. There you go. All ready to go. Alrighty, let's get this thing put together. Stewed tomatoes. Diced tomatoes. 1 jar of tomato sauce. And the other jar of tomato sauce. Just gonna get a little bit of water and we'll rinse all these jars out. Of course I'm making a mess, that's nothing new. Put our Italian seasoning in. Our minced garlic, fair amount. I mean, that's literally like 3 cloves of garlic. Some toasted onion. We're going to put a little bit of salt, probably about a half a teaspoon, and probably about the same of ground pepper. There we go. So I'm going to let this simmer for a couple of hours, guys. Here we go. Now, if you're vegetarian and you want to make lasagna, don't put the meat in. If you want the extra protein, use lentils. Seriously, red lentils in a bolognese works well. I have added lentils in the past, quite a while ago. I haven't done it in a long time, actually, so maybe I'll show you that someday. But I have added lentils to a spaghetti sauce with the beef when I've just not had enough beef, but I wanted the extra protein. But look at that. Doesn't that look good? All right, let's let this simmer. And then we'll be back later and we will put the lasagnas together. Check it out. The sauce is done. Doesn't that look good? Now I did add one of the small jars of our tomato paste to it to thicken it up a bit. But that is all finished. Yay! Okay, time for the pasta water. Gonna add some salt, season the water. And now I don't normally put oil in the water, but this is the other pot, and I just want to give the noodles a fighting chance. We're going back to the good stuff for the lasagna. Alright guys, so this is where my Italian uncle will totally freak out again. As you guys know, I am iron deficient. I don't know how this started. I don't know who started it. I know my mother did it for a while, but there is the one layer that I make with cottage cheese and spinach. I'm making this now because I wanted to have plenty of time to set up and have all the flavors mix in the fridge. So I've got 1 egg. Now this isn't just spinach, by the way, in here. I also pulled some kale. So the kale and the spinach that are in this container, or in this bowl, actually came from the garden. Okay, let's get the cottage cheese in. So like I said, this is the point where my Italian uncle starts to cringe or fall off his chair. Sorry, Joe. Gonna add some shaker cheese because, you know, everything is better with cheese. And a fair amount of pepper. I mean a fair amount of pepper. Now I don't put salt in this layer, of course, because I'm using Parmesan cheese. Here we go. That is an entire 500 gram container of cottage cheese. And it's not that low fat stuff either. 2%. There we go. That is going to sit in the fridge now. We're going to cook the pasta. And once everything's cold, we're going to put this first comfort meal in the oven. Well, and in the freezer, because this is a huge lasagna base that I've just made. I'm going to make the dinner for supper first. And then after that, we will make the dinners for the freezer. So first things first, guys. I always put a little bit of sauce on the bottom so things don't stick, okay? Oh, that smells so good. Just saying. It smells phenomenal. Now let's see what size these noodles are for this pan. They're probably too long. Just a bit. So we'll trim them. Trim them just a tiny bit. So I'm going to put 2 on the bottom. Now the good thing about this pasta, like I said, it holds its shape and it doesn't get mushy. Because I don't like mushy pasta. Look at that, side by side, perfectly. Good, healthy scoop of sauce. And I also have that Italian blend cheese. So we're going to put a little bit of Italian blend cheese on this layer. Not a lot, just a little bit. There we go. A little bit of shaker cheese, because, you know, I like my shaker cheese. And a couple more layers of pasta. Now, one thing I do when I make it, and I also, I don't know, maybe it's just something I do. I don't know. But I also, like I was about to say, I enjoy myself doing this. Yes, lasagna is time consuming and all the fun stuff, but I find this relaxing. It's probably just me. I will spend all day in my kitchen just making food because, one, I know I'm making stuff that's healthy. 2, I know I'm going to enjoy it and it'll taste good. And 3, gets me off my chair and doing things. There we go. There's the controversial layer. I'm gonna put a little bit more, and I should have enough for 2 small freezer lasagnas. And don't ask me why, but I always alternate back and forth. I always have. It's just I don't know why. I wish I could answer that. All these little pieces I'm trimming off, by the way, they're not going to go to waste. Because on this layer, as you can see, I have a gap. I'm just going to pop some in there. There we go. All right, meat sauce. This one's a nice healthy layer. Probably more than I need, but that's okay. A little bit more cheese. There we go. A little more shaker cheese. And one more layer on the top. And all these little pieces I'm just going to tuck on here. Like I said, I'm not going to waste all the little pieces. Because, you know, this is good stuff. I am seriously babbly today. You know that? There we go. And the last layer of sauce for on top. All right, I'm gonna set this aside for a minute and let's get these 2 freezer meals done before I put the cheese on the top. There we go. Now the cool thing about the freezer meals, check this out. They're almost the right width, so I'm just gonna put them in one at a time. And then I'm gonna use the little piece and fill it in on the side. And I forgot to put the sauce on the bottom because I was talking to you. Scoop of sauce. Scoop of sauce. There we go. So we'll put the big piece in. Pop the 2 little pieces in. Got sauce all over the side of my hand somehow. Next noodle. Got sauce all over my cutting board. Oh well. Come on guys, you already know. If you guys have been here long enough, you know when I cook I make a mess. That's not gonna change. Sorry. And to my aunt who watches, yes, yes, yes. I know I'm making a mess. Little bit of shaker cheese. I'm not 100% sure if it'll fit the other way, but I'm gonna try it. Might not be perfect, but that's okay. I'm all right if it's not perfect. Not perfect. We got that little piece. We'll just kind of. All right, and the last of our controversial mixture. Probably could have put more in the big lasagna from the looks of things, but this will fill this up really well. Now, the thing is I am 2 noodles short. I should have cooked 2 more sheets of pasta because I couldn't count. I'm terrible. I am tempted to cook 2 more. Haven't decided yet. And 2 big healthy scoops of sauce. You know, I think I'll just leave them. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Miscounted. Am I worried? No. I'm not worried. There we go. Oh, this one needs a little bit more. There we go. Ta-da! Alrighty. Now let's get the cheese on all of these. Okay. So before we actually get into what dinner looks like, I want to talk about this stuff. It is actually oven ready as well. One of the good things I do love about their pasta is they specifically have instructions for oven ready. So if my pan was the perfect size, I could just lay these in raw and you cook it at 425 for 24 minutes is what it says. Now this one also gives you the parboiled. So I cooked that pasta for a little longer than 4 minutes. It actually ended up to be about 6 because I set my timer wrong. And then you can go ahead and make your lasagna, and normally you would bake it for about 20 minutes. I bought the DiCecco because it was on a really, really good sale. The pasta sheets themselves, I actually find them to be a better size because that's them. And I have enough in here for another big lasagna. Yeah. So I know it's not necessarily budget friendly, this specific brand, but quality wise, I'm sorry. I'll probably start buying it a little bit more often, but only when it's on sale. Now I don't do the white sauce stuff on top of lasagna. Never have. What is it, bechamel? Never done that. I don't even know if I could make bechamel. Haven't got a clue. And a little bit of shaker cheese, because I like my shaker cheese. Alright guys, this is comfort food meals number 1. I was going to give you guys the budget for these 2, but to be honest, I just decided I was going to make them because I felt like cooking. I wanted lasagna, So I made lasagna. These two freezer ones, they are smaller. Usually takes about a half an hour in the oven. The big one, I'll probably put in for about 45 minutes. Now it is a little bit longer than when you make a standard lasagna because I put that cheese layer in the middle and it does have a raw egg. So I like to make sure it is 100% cooked. All right, I am done. I'm gonna label these, put them in the freezer because they're cold, and I'll show you what this looks like when dinner time is here. Okay, so yeah, the lasagna is there, but the last of the sauce is not gonna go to waste. And one of my personal comfort foods is sloppy pasta. So I am going to have this for lunch. Ooh, steamy. Sorry, guys. And like I said, I'll show you that when it's baked because it's ready way too early. And I still got to clean this stove off. All right, I'm going to eat lunch and then tidy my mess. So I kind of got caught up on a couple of things. So it's been in here a little longer than the 20 to 25 minutes it needs to be, but dinner is ready, guys. Check it out. 100% looks great. There's nothing like comfort food, seriously. Now, of course, I'm working really hard on to not have food waste, so we're having half of this for dinner tonight and the other half in a couple of days, but dinner's ready. It is potato soup time. So now someone asked how I made my potato soup. So this is basically it in a nutshell. Are you ready? Brown some bacon, add some butter, add a bunch of onion if you like it, garlic as well if you like it, or leeks. Pick one, doesn't matter. I've done them all. Add some flour, get a roux going. Add about a liter of liquid. In my case, it's turkey stock and a little bit of water. After you add the liquid in, you're going to add the potatoes. After you add the potatoes in, you can add your seasoning. In my case, I'm using thyme, rosemary, a tiny bit of salt because I've got bacon, and some pepper. And then after that, I'm using a good old-fashioned can of cheddar cheese soup. That's my recipe. Now, if you're vegetarian, don't use the turkey stock and don't use the bacon. You can make a fabulous vegetarian version of potato soup. Potato leek soup, oh, wonderful. You make your own veggie stock, even better. Just saying, even better. Now, the potatoes, these are just regular old white potatoes. Trust me, don't use russets or you'll be eating cream of potato soup. Just thought I'd let you know. There we go. Dinner is ready. Nice and thick. Now, if you want it thicker, you can add like a flour slurry or cornstarch slurry to it. But we're just going to dish this up with a couple of nice rolls and dinner is ready. Work is done and I'm going to relax. Okay, so our last comfort meal of the day, so the last comfort meal I was going to show you is macaroni and cheese. And I make mine with fusilli pasta. So the tight corkscrews, not the bigger corkscrews, because the cheese sauce kind of sticks to those. Phenomenal. So I'm going to boil some water and cook these up. Then I'm going to show you how we make our macaroni and cheese. All right, it is cheese sauce time, and I'm just using the same pot. Why make more dishes? So you guys are going to be thoroughly, I don't know if you're going to like how much cheese I am putting in this macaroni and cheese, but I guess we'll find out. Okay, so we've got a lot of butter, probably about 3 tablespoons of butter. That's a lot of butter. Time for some flour. A couple of tablespoons, just like that. Now this is just the way I make macaroni and cheese. I like it. I like a lot of cheese. I like a nice, thick, cheesy cheese sauce. Sometimes it doesn't come out so cheesy. Sometimes it does. Just cooking out the flour. I'm going to be using a can of evaporated milk for this. So we've got that. We can add a little bit of that in. There we go. And I'm just going to kind of get maybe about 1/3 of a cup of water in here. I meant 1/3 of a can of water. There we go. Warm this up. Now, one thing I put in mine, Coleman's mustard. Just a little bit of dried mustard, not a lot. There we go. A little bit of salt. Yes, I'm putting these in before I put the cheese in. Slowly warming up. Break up my mustard. All right, this will slowly thicken as we're going. And the cheese. So I actually have, I'm gonna bring this a little closer, probably close to 1.5 pounds of cheese. I've got medium that I shredded up, some old that I shredded up, and some pre-shredded mozzarella just because I didn't want to crack open the package of mozzarella. Now we're going to start putting all of this in, but we're going to save a little bit for the top and to put inside. Okay, another good handful. There we go. Oh, I know what else I'm going to put in there. We have a tiny bit of the Italian style pre-shredded stuff left too. So, all right, let's get this melting. Ooh, look at the cheese. It's not quite there yet. I'm going to put some more of all this stuff in because I don't need that much for the top. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? I love macaroni and cheese. All right, I've got the heat pretty much. Actually, I got the heat off now. Let's give it a tiny taste. Oh yeah. That's some cheesy flavor. Just saying. I love how old cheddar tastes when you're making macaroni and cheese. Oh. All right, I'm gonna turn the oven on since I'm standing here. Ah, runaway piece of cheese. All right, there's our baking dish. Oh, wow, look at that. Doesn't that just look fabulous? And here's our pasta. And yes, I know there's a lot of sauce for how much pasta. We want gooey. Alrighty. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? Alright. I'm going to pour all this gooiness. Oh, look at that. Ha ha. Now, if I was going for healthy, I'd be having peas and stuff like that in there too. But this here, this is straight up just comfort food. Look at that. Look at how gooey. And the last of that cheese. Mix it all together here. There we go. We don't want to leave any shreds behind. Alrighty guys, we're gonna put this in the oven probably about 20 minutes. And then I'll show you how it looks. Look at that. Let me get a spoon. Now, of course, normally I'd let it sit for a minute, but I want to see. Look how creamy that is. Doesn't that look good? That makes me happy. So it is time to make some cheater fried rice. Now this is just the Cheats fried rice that we grew up with when we were kids. We used to think this was like fabulous, and I still do. But it's really, really easy. Cook some ground beef, or chicken, or pork, or whatever you have laying around, whatever you want to use up. Cut up what's left of a cabbage. So I used actually a small cabbage or a half a cabbage, whatever you actually have. If you want to add some onions, some strips of carrot, you can. Now, when I make it, though, I do tend to put the lid on, a tiny bit of water, and steam the rice a little bit. Sorry, cabbage a little bit, so it's a little bit softer, just so it's, kind of easier to eat. But anyway, let's get to the point. Now, seasonings that we use for the Cheats fried rice: powdered ginger, Worcester, and soy sauce. That's it. That's all I put in. A little bit of pepper sometimes, not all the time. And of course, like I've told you in the past, cook your rice and let it get cold. So much easier, and it doesn't come out all sticky and, well, not worth eating. Just saying. It is officially April. This video did take me a little while to film, and I apologize for that. But hey, we're a family of 2. So when you're making comfort meals, it takes a while. Go through everything. But anyway, that little tiny shop at the beginning, that was quite some time ago, because it is no shop April. And so far so good. But there are some really, really good sales this week. Like, come on. $7 for a maple leaf prime chicken at Giant Tiger. I am not going shopping, just saying. But if you can believe it is right now April 10th. The snow has finally melted again. So I woke up to 4 inches of snow a couple of mornings ago, and yeah, Mother Nature, you need to like roll over and get up on the other side of the bed. Just saying. A little bit of a wind. I hope you guys can hear me. Anyway, so those were the comfort meals. I did a couple of voiceovers, used a different headset, so I hope you guys could hear me a little bit better. And yeah, those are just some of the things that we like to eat. Now, my sloppy pasta, I do that a lot. If there's a little bit of pasta sauce left, I'll just make some macaroni, some baby shells. I'll have some sloppy pasta. Yeah. The macaroni and cheese, we don't make that a lot because it is so rich. I mean, so rich. That kind of macaroni and cheese, what I should be doing is making it in small batches and having a bunch of veggies or a big salad beside it to kind of lighten it up a bit. So that seriously uses a ton of cheese. I mean, seriously, a bunch of cheese. But you can use whatever cheese you like. I've used provolone and I've used Gouda because it kind of gives up nice little... I put Swiss in it once. Not bad at all. What's really, really good is the goat cheese with the herbs on the outside. That one is really, really, really good. It doesn't add to the creamy, but it really adds to the flavor. Just saying. Now, evaporated milk does actually add a lot to the richness, but if you don't want to use evaporated milk, just use a little bit of milk. Not a big deal. Works out great. The potato soup, like I said on my little voiceover, voiceover Tammy. She may be here to stay every now and then. Anyway, let's get back to the point. The potato soup, you do not have to make it with any milk products whatsoever or meat. You can make potato soup purely vegan by using a combination of potatoes. So if you use russet potatoes and some waxy potatoes, the russet potatoes will basically just break right down and it'll cream it up. If you like creamy potato soup, use an immersion blender or nothing but russet potatoes. Trust me, been there, done that, done it all. If you don't want cheese, don't put cheese. That's just the way I like it. Now, making potato soup with a can of cheddar cheese soup, it can work out to be cheaper depending on where you get your soup or where you get the cheese. So one or the other would always work well. The cheddar cheese soup just adds that little bit of cheesy flavor without being overpowering, and you can really still taste the potatoes. But there you go. Those are our comfort foods. Not too bad. Oh yeah, let's talk about the lasagna. Now you guys heard me like right about now, my Italian uncle. Yeah, I'll say it again. Sorry, Joe. So like I said, I don't know who started that layer, but for me, it gives me the extra protein and the extra iron, gives me the extra veggies, and then depending on how I make the sauce, I might have a ton of veggies in the sauce as well. It actually works out to be a really well-rounded meal for me, which is fabulous. So makes me happy, makes my body happy. That's the important part. But anyway, guys, that was about it. This little ending came out to be a little breezy again. Can you hear me? This little ending came out to be a little longer than I thought, but hey, that's okay. I'm gonna sit out here on this beautiful morning. It's gonna go up to 7 degrees Celsius today. Almost flip-flop weather. But I'm gonna finish my coffee. I had to wear my hat because it's so bright. And I guess we'll see you next time as we continue our simpler life here on PEI. Cheers.